take a few questions.
Yeah, thank you first of all for your interest to watch our debate today. I think it was a great moment of showing the democratic approach of the European Union of the future, to show the different ideas of the parties. I want to thank all my friends and also competitors where we were on the stage together. I want to underline that this was today a debate among the Spitzenkandidaten, so the top lead candidates of the parties. And that is also clear for the upcoming elections. We showed our face, we showed our profile, we showed our content, our program. And that means also for afterwards that we stick to the idea of the Spitzenkandidat, to keep the idea, to show up before the elections and to ask people for support, for choosing now, for doing a democratic decision. That is what we believe in, and that was today the day where the European Parliament and the parties showed exactly that they are sticking to this idea of Spitzenkandidat and will defend this also afterwards. And finally, I was told that I had the longest opportunity to speak because I was challenged so often, especially in the climate change debate. I have to tell you that was obviously already the indication that everybody expects that the EPP will be in a kind of leading group in the future, and that's why everybody is already challenging the EPP for the future. I'm very happy about this, and we will now campaign for the next days in Europe to convince as many as possible people.
Thank you very much. Balázs Litowski from Hungarian RTL. Mr. Weber, you didn't give any answer on the question of the situation in Hungary with the Fidesz and Prime Minister Orbán. He said that you are inappropriate for the presidency of the European Commission. What's your comment on this, and is there still a place for Fidesz in the EPP?
We are 10 days ahead of the European elections, and it's absolutely not about the leaders to take any decisions about the group leaders, party leaders, or governmental leaders. The only group who has a say in the future are now the people of Europe. So the voters who will participate in the elections, they will decide about the future of Europe, and afterwards we will see what the people tell us.
But you comment on his statement. I mentioned he said that you are inappropriate for a presidency of the Commission. What's your comment on this?
Again, not commenting is also a comment, okay?
Mr. Weber? Max Brod, Italian public TV. Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini is saying Italy could be ready to break the 3% rule. If you were President of the Commission, would you allow it?
The European Union must solve problems, must not create problems. We have to solve problems. And that's why together with all the states, the responsible leaders on governmental level, we want to sit together and want to define a program for the future. How can we create growth in Italy? How can we create living conditions all over Europe where nobody is anymore forced to leave his home region due to economic reasons to get better salaries, for example? That is what I want to work for. And I'm a bridge builder. I want to work with everyone who is really ready to contribute to common ideas. We should not blame each other. We should not attack each other in Europe. We should find solutions. And that's my way to do politics.
My name is Mateja Damjanovic from Croatia. In Croatia, Union collected almost 700,000 signatures for a referendum against going to pension at the age of 67. People do not want to work so long, but Croatian government thinks that a reform is necessary. What message can you send to Croatia and Croatian people?
You know, social welfare system, especially the pension system, is a national responsibility. So the European Union has only an indirect say in this. And that's why I fully count on the national politicians and the people in Croatia to get a good understanding about their future. What I must generally say is that the European Union must be ready for reforms, because in a very quickly changing time, when we have globalization, demographic development, when we have the digitalization or climate change, we are facing so much fundamental challenges. And that's why Europe must be ready for adapting these challenges, for giving answers. And that means being ready for reforms, for socially well-treated reforms.
Thank you. One last one. Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Georgian TV company. What's your position regarding to enlargement policy?
On the enlargement field, the European Union must always be ready to include those who are real European countries and European nations. And the readiness to do so must be still strong and ambitious for the future. But it's also clear that it is also strongly depending on the criteria. So the criteria are fundamental for all the future enlargement processes. And you know, one aspect where I was very clear is that we also have to define the final borders of the final composition of today's European Union. For me, Turkey cannot become a member of the European Union because it's not a totally European nation. And that's why we also need a clarification where is the final end of this enlargement process for Europe.
Thank you very much. We have to stop. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Others will also come. Bye-bye.